Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Teanaway, Washington. We're about in the heart of central Washington, up in the Blewett Mountains, and today we're going to be taking you to a special place, and we're starting on Iron Creek Bear Trail, number 1351, and without further ado, let's just get cracking. So, we wanted to do something a little bit different today because we've kind of had a repeat of the same thing for our first few episodes. We've been, for the most part, filming in Little Natchez, all but I think one episode so far. And, everything's been kind of planned out and, very simple and easy and relatively safe. And I just wanted to do something to kind of break up that monotony a little bit. So today, we are riding a trail about which we know nothing in a place we've never been before with an undetermined mileage, with terrain I have no idea about which we will encounter. So far, it's looking pretty nice, actually. Having said that, I just kind of wanted to, step out of our comfort zone a little bit this time and, do something different. Maybe take a couple chances here and there, because normally, we've got everything just planned to the T. I know how far we're going, the mileage. I know what we need, down to the letter. And as much fun as this is, sometimes, it can get a little mundane. So we're going to step it up a little bit and kind of step out into the unknown here. Relatively speaking, of course, with regards to enduro riding here. It's kind of narrow, albeit. Hope this opens up a little bit. Oh, some nice hiker ladies. Kind of be respectful to them. Share the trail, of course. Thank you. So it's kind of, a point I've been thinking about a lot lately, and something I actually have been doing some research on, as far as, for lack of a better phrase, stepping into the unknown, because we tend to really not do that. We think, everything that we don't know is big and scary, and oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if I get hurt? Oh, more hiker ladies. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got one more. So I just kind of want to touch base on that because I've learned some very interesting things with regards to, the overall general fear of what we don't know, or things that are different that make us, scared or nervous, or, a little shy about getting out and doing things, because it can have an adverse effect on your life and the things you do, or more importantly, the things you don't do. If you talk to any old timer, he'll tell you you'll regret more of the things you didn't do than the things you did. And I don't want to be an old guy thinking about that stuff. That's why I'm out here every weekend doing this. I've got a pretty good inclination as to what it is I want to do with my life, and it always comes back to this. And I've accepted that, and I like it. But back to my point of the things I learned over the last week or so in my research. I don't know why I fell on this topic of, fear of the unknown, but there's a lot of neuroscience behind it. That it was extremely interesting to find out exactly what that's all about. For instance, you know that gut feeling you get when, let's say, you're kind of weary of something, or something's up, or you can't really put your finger on it, but something's slightly askew. That feeling you get in your gut is actually a neurophysical reaction. And what I mean by that is, oh boy, I took the wrong line. Let's back up. Line choice through single track like this, folks, is paramount. All right. Up and over. Ooh. Gonna be good stuff today. So, as I was saying, that gut feeling you get is actually releases of serotonin from your gut to your brain, telling you something's up that your brain can't quite consciously distinguish. It's more of a subconscious thing at that level, but more to the point, that's why they always say you should listen to your gut. It's usually right. So when you get that feeling, it's probably your brain trying to tell you something. And we get that a lot when we kind of step out of our comfort zone. We always kind of have our guts kind of, you know, in the background telling us, hey man, you better look out. And that's a severe case of the what ifs, which actually has a technical nomenclature called agnostophobia, which is quite literally, by definition, the fear of what we don't know, or the fear of what we can't see, per se. A lot of people confuse it with xenophobia, which is actually, by definition, the fear of something different, or the fear of change, which, you know, kind of where a lot of racism stems from in that regard, is xenophobia, where, you know, maybe they just don't understand something, you know. Oh yeah. So don't confuse the two, because they are very different, come to find out. But more to my point is, it very much, as I found out in the last few years, it very much behooves oneself to step out of that comfort zone and step into the unknown, and, you know, go do something that maybe you haven't done before, or maybe you're unsure of, or, you know, God forbid, maybe it's scary. Maybe that's the thing you should do the most. Oftentimes, the fear of a thing is worse than the thing we fear, you know what I mean? It's where it's not so bad. I've always equated it to, when I was a kid, I went to this water park up in Birch Bay, Washington, where I grew up, and they had what they called the drop-off water slide, where it's just, 55, 60 feet, but it just goes straight down. And you go up to the top, and as a little kid, you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be fun. Then you get up there, and you look down, and you're like, well, to hell with this. I'm not doing that. That's gonna be terrifying. But then you finally do it. And then you do it again, and again, and again, because it's awesome, and it's fun, and it's a hoot. Because once you realize it's not gonna kill you, it's okay, you know? Not everything's gonna kill you. Of course, you know, there are dangers that should be respected, but, you know, it comes back to the old adage of danger is real, but fear is always a choice. And it really, for the most part, exists only in the mind. And if you can overcome that, I've found that you'll have a lot more fruitful life relative to, you know, just simply listening to those fears rather than, you know, turning it into curiosity, I suppose, which is always a better way to go. Oh, baby, this is beautiful stuff. I am very pleasantly surprised. Woo! A little tight, albeit, but beautiful. There was an American photographer that once says, "He who goes into the unknown," hi folks, "and is not afraid of life or failure will always succeed." Put in simple terms, f***ing try. You'll be amazed what happens and the things you can do, and you'll probably surprise yourself a lot. Oh, this is just great. Boy, you guys, this is a ball. I can already tell you, we're only a couple miles in. If you get the chance, you should come here. Oh, man. Granted, I probably spoke too soon. I might put my foot in my mouth here in a little bit, but this is nice. Oh, beautiful. So a little story in a story, as far as stepping out into the unknown and getting after things you don't know about. Howdy, folks.
Right in the middle of the trail.
Copy that. Should we pull off to the side up here, or think we can get around back there?
I think you can get around.
Okay, bud.
You got to go on that low side there.
Oh, that's all right. Everybody okay?
Yeah, we're good. Here, hold this, bud, so I can move my bike a little bit.
We got lots of time. Lots of time. You having fun, buddy?
Yeah.
Cool, man. It's a neat trail you got here. Is that a PW80? I used to have one of those. Yeah, it was awesome. All right, buddy, have a good day. It's a nice fella. She's out for a ride with the kid. Looks like he was out for his first ride ever. That's neat. Kids seem to be in okay spirits. As I've said many times before, your first time riding this stuff can be very intimidating, especially as a youngster. That kid could have been more than 6 or 7. Jesus. Good on you, whoever you are, kid. Hope you stick with it. So, back to my story in a story here, as far as stepping out into the unknown. My dad and his family of about 13 people, I might add. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Christmas 1963. To the best of my memory, I'm sure my Aunt Carol, the family historian, will correct me without a doubt. But to the best of my knowledge, I do believe that's a timeline. About Christmas Eve, in the middle of the night, in the black of darkness, for reasons I will not mention here today, they packed up all 10 kids, 2 adults, 3 cars, and $75 between all of them. Now granted, this is 1963, so that value of that $75 was, obviously a lot more than it is today. Hell, I spent about double that just getting here yesterday. However, they left on Christmas Eve in the middle of the night to migrate all the way to the other side of the country, pretty much on a whim. And it wasn't easy. It took them months and months to do this. And they had to stop along the way and, work for a day's wages or work at farms just to, have money to get some food or get some fuel to get a little further down the road. And I kind of want to repeat a little bit of that in case you didn't hear me. There were 10 children involved. And I want to say the oldest of which was my dad. And he was about 14. My grandmother, Edith Wood, that chick was tough as nails, man. She could do anything. And she was a little fighter. She couldn't have been more than 4'11", maybe 5 foot, 100 pounds, but man, that lady spoke up and told you something, you damn well shut up and listen. She commanded respect that way, but she was the nicest lady. She worked really hard all her life to raise kids and her grandkids, you know, for not much. And they stepped into the unknown that night in 1963. They literally, by definition, left everything that any of them ever knew in the darkness of night for what they really didn't know. And lo and behold, after some time went by, they ended up in Bellingham, Washington, where I came along. Thank you very much. And they succeeded. They made it. They did it. Yeah, it was hard. You bet. But they did it, despite their fears of the situation. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make with you today is, if they can do that, think of the resources, the technology, and the availability of both to a poor family from the projects of Philadelphia in 1963. Damn near nothing. I mean zero. And they just took off. And they even got separated, you know, along the way. Had to find each other again. Keep in mind, no cell phones, no internet, no computers, no nothing. Make no mistake, life was a lot tougher back then, you guys. And I think that's where, you know, the last of the good old boys comes from. They grew up being able to handle that shit, kind of without question. Man, have I mentioned this trail is beautiful? Because this is beautiful. Oh man. So if my family can do that, you guys can pretty much do anything. Man alive, could we ever? And don't let me recuse myself from this fact. I am guilty of it as well. It's kind of the reason I chose this location. All I really knew was where the trailhead was. I don't really know the terrain we're going to encounter. I don't know how long this loop is going to be. Nothing. I barely know where we're going. So, you know, I took steps to plan accordingly. We're packing fuel in platypus bags on our backs, so we got an extra, you know, 2 liters or so just in case. Me being a diabetic, so I packed 2 sandwiches in case I got to eat something, you know, right now. We got a full 2 liters of water on board. A bunch of tools. We do have the ability to kind of band-aid a tire, or worst comes to worst, when we get it flat. All under the insurance that we make it back. So planning and preparation is kind of key on this stuff before you go, you know, stepping into that wild unknown. There was a philosopher, I cannot remember his name at the moment, but during my research over the last week, I kind of came across him, and he had this quote that I actually wrote down. It stuck with me a little bit, and I just came across it a little bit ago before we left camp there. It said, "He who lives in fear of change will live a life of constant discomfort." And I think what he meant by that was, if you live in this constant state of discomfort, essentially, because you're afraid of everything, well, that's going to just be your constant state. You're just going to stay in this kind of little box of what? I don't know. You know, I hope whatever it is makes you happy, but you're never really going to get out of that until you let go of some of those things. And you really got to let go of those things. Life is beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. Digging every minute of it. And it seems to get better and better as I go along. You know, people say you kind of peak. I haven't got there yet. And I don't plan to for a very long time. As long as you keep your mind sharp, take care of yourself, keep yourself in, you know, half-assed decent shape. probably do good. Just keep that going. Woo. 'Cause that's what it's all about, you know, this brief window that we get to do these things. You got to take full advantage of it, because once that window is closed, it's not reopenable. So you better get you some way you can. And enjoy it. Love it. Don't do it just because you're going to do it. Enjoy the shit out of it. If it's something you don't enjoy, but don't do it. But take the chance. You know what I mean? Step out into the proverbial abyss, as it were. There's lots of good stuff on the other side, both psychologically, emotionally, and physically. I really wish I had learned these aspects of kind of life philosophy a long, long time ago. But I'm very thankful that I understand them now. And I've been trying to teach my young protege, Mr. John Gessner, those very same things. You know, that poor kid, he kind of gets, I think he stresses himself out a bit too much with all the things he has to do. And I try to tell him how ahead of the curve he is in life in general, relative to, you know, kids his age. The guy's only 21, you know. He had a full racing career under his belt. He had a full military career under his belt. In about 3 weeks, he'll have a full degree in health sciences. 2 weeks ago, he passed a test to get his real estate license. So I told the kid, maybe you need to quit your bitching a little bit, quit stressing yourself out, and enjoy life, step out into that abyss a little bit more. Case in point, I brought him with me today. He's trailing behind me by, I don't know, 30, 40 yards. I was going to do this ride solo to kind of prove my point of my whole premise today as far as stepping into the unknown. But then I got home and Johnny was there and I'm packing up the van. And you ever seen a puppy dog that really doesn't want you to leave, staring out the window? That's John. So, all right, little shit. Grab a bike, let's go. Can't leave the kid behind, and I'm really glad I brought him. He's a good egg. I've learned a lot from him, and I hope he's taken some of what I've tried to teach into heart and enjoy things. I kind of, we were having a bit of a deep conversation last night around our campfire, and I tried to make a point to him, you know, because he's so, you know, Mr. Responsible, that he almost denies himself things that, you know, wouldn't really accost him too much. And I told him, don't deny yourself the things you do to make you happy in the name of self-discipline. You will find that that takes on all new characteristics in your day-to-day life, you know, over time, and can kind of be unhealthy. I'm not saying blow everything you got and just go get everything all the time. There's a balancing act to be had here, you bet. But don't just deny yourself for the sake of denying yourself because it's not the logical, responsible choice. If you made every decision in your life based on absolute logic, A, you'd never get anything done. If you think about the logical side of your brain as opposed to the relative or the emotional side of your brain, they're two very different things. Let's say you're walking into a room and you're looking for a specific item. Let's say it's a red book, just for the sake of argument. So you walk into this room, and if you're using the logical side of your brain is going to scan every single thing and every piece of information that it intakes through your eyes by staring at this room. You know, it's going to look at the bed. Okay, that's not a red book. It's going to look at the wall. Okay, that's not a red book. Then it's going to look at the carpet. Okay, that's not a red book. And it's going to deduce absolutely everything it sees until it comes across what is absolutely definitively a red book. Where if you use the relative or the emotional side of your brain, you walk in to look for that red book, you're going to scan, and boom, there's that red book. Now, this is a relative analogy, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to make a point here. And we're going to actually take a quick break to find our trailhead, as it seems we have lost it. So we'll be right back with you. All right, here we go to Miller Peak. Oh, this is good. So the point I was trying to make with the red book has nothing to do with said red book. The point I'm trying to make is it is good to proceed in life with some form of logic and caution, but if you use that solely, it can also be unhealthy. So you don't really need to go about everything with solely using logic. You know, there's a lot more to be had than just that. And that's what I've been trying to, you know, bestow upon Johnny, is simply to, you know, get a little bit more of that. Quit looking at everything so damn seriously. Be responsible, work hard, try hard, but, you know, if you treat every situation in your life as life and death, well, guess what? You're gonna eat shit a lot, so don't do it. Step out into that night every once in a while. Do something you've been scared to do. It's very rewarding. More than I can put into words. Well, this stuff is narrow. Drop down in a second here. So it's getting a little bit rockier, but this terrain is actually pretty decent, which also kind of proves my point. You know, last night when I finally made a decision, I was like, all right, Johnny, come with me, buddy. If this terrain ended up to be really, really gnarly, and I got myself into a situation where if I was by myself, I maybe would get pinned under my bike if I crashed, or my bike would slide over a ledge a little bit and I wouldn't have the strength to pull it back up, you know, things of that nature. That's why it's always good to, you know, use the buddy system when you're riding out here, because yeah, this stuff's fairly quick and easy, getting some good miles in when you're out in the mountains on one of these bikes, but you got to walk out in moto boots. That is a very different distance to cover, and I have found out that before. I've had to walk out of the mountain, and I don't ever care to do it again. It sucks, it doesn't quite describe it. Put a pair of motocross boots on and just kind of walk down the street, even 100 yards or so. Tell me what you think. We had to walk 9 miles. Luckily, we didn't have to walk the entire thing. Some nice kids in a pickup that were coming down the mountain. I swear to God, they were the only other people on the mountain come and swooped us up. Because our bikes were in a ravine, to which they were unrecoverable at that particular time due to some inclement weather. That was a hoot. Here we go. The rocky climb. I knew we'd come into some of this eventually. Thank you, sir. I know I've said before in past videos that I despise hiking with every fiber of my being. And the reason I said that is because it is absolutely 100% true. A lot of people do it, and I respect them for it. More power to you. But for me, that. This is way easier. Why would you want to climb this mountain on foot when you can do it on one of these? Crying out loud. Ooh, this is getting narrow. Definitely a little tighter than the stuff we normally ride, but you know, par for the course, I guess. Some are bigger, some are not. The trail goes where the trail goes. It is simply your job to follow it. That's why you can't be scared of going out and doing something new for the first time, or doing something that you think will hurt you, but most likely probably will not. I'll say it again. The fear of a thing that we're scared of is simply worse than the thing itself we fear. I found that to be true in most occasions and scenarios. Here we go. Back out to the open stuff a wee bit. Some of that tight, super techie stuff, you know, first gear, low second, can kind of be, I don't know, it just gets old after a little bit. I like to get a little speed under me yet, while still having some technical stuff, but there's a limit. Not that this stuff is difficult, because it's rather tame for what it looks like, actually. I just like to go fast. And it's hot. So, get a little breeze going. I have a feeling we're headed for the climb to the top, which is Miller Peak. I want to say right about 5,000 feet or so. But again, I don't know because I've never been here and I didn't do any pre-research before. All I know was how to get here on a map, the shape of the loop, and the altitude based on the topographics of said map. And it was really important to me that, you know, I got out a little more to, you know, maybe hit something I didn't know anything about. Because I wouldn't say I ever get bored with enduro riding, because I don't. But every once in a while, you just want to see something new. What else is out there? How awesome is it? Because life should be about adventure. I think maybe that's the entire point I'm trying to make today, is be a little more adventurous. Hello! Otherwise you just end up in this little box of yourself. Squeeze around this fellow. How you doing, bud? I got one more, maybe 100 yards back. And the reason that's a good point, a good philosophy to take with you in life is the simple fact that there's a big world, you guys. There's a lot to see. There's a lot going on. I discover something new every time I leave my house, more than, 100 miles, something that I didn't know before. And I'm always glad I did it. Life's too goddamn short to just stay in this little box of safety and, just kind of live out your years. We're always afraid of the old what ifs. Because, oh my God, you might die. Well, yeah. sure might. And you're gonna, eventually. Might be tomorrow, might be in 50 years, I don't know. And neither do you. But what's worse to you? Dying a quick death from a shark attack, or dying a long, prolonged death of heart disease? Now, of course, I hope neither of those things happen to you. I'm just trying to, you know, trying to really prove an analogous point here. Get out and do it. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I fall in love with this every day, more and more. Never gets old, never gets mundane, and I find myself being more excited for every new trail that I have the chance to encounter. Like a little kid trying to sleep at night, waiting to go to Disneyland the next day. Do you remember that feeling? Well, case in point, I'm 35 years old and I still feel it. And that, my good fellows, is worth its weight in gold and then some. So quit being scared of shit. Ain't no point. There's too much good stuff out there, too much fun to be had, too much enjoyment, and too much life. Remember that one you get? The one that doesn't have a redo button, or a restart, or a go around, and has a finish line that you can't see. Neither can anyone else. So get to it. Oh, there's lots of hikers. Thanks, bud. Thank you, ma'am. I got one more. I don't think I've ever seen so many hikers on a dirt bike trail before. Granted, it's multi-use, of course, and more power to all the hikers that want to come out here. I'm not going to do it, but oh no. But you can do it. I got things to do, places to be. I want to go see more. Hiking's too slow. It's Lucy, and it's Goosey. Come on, buddy. Oh, shit. All right. Again, line choice is paramount. I'm going to pick that one. That way I can get my foot kind of on that high side there. Holy shit. Woo! All right. I can smell Taz a little hot here. We gotta get a little more wind in him, get some speed. Poor little bugger. He's working really hard. Here we go. Yeah, buddy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that, you guys. I think that's where we're going, if I'm not mistaken, but we're gonna wait for Johnny to get up here. All right. keep him moving. Thank you. Oh man. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, beautiful, guys. I really want to stop and look at it, but I'm going to stay focused on this one. Thought about putting another camera on my head so that, you know, when I'm turned, you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at, because I kind of feel like maybe you miss some of these views that we're going on about. But they are beautiful. Simply beautiful. There he is. All right. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Wait for this dust to clear a little. There we go. We are on the run to the top. But again, I have no bearing or relative mileage to base this off of. It sure just feels like it. My gut feeling, you know? See? Just made a point. It's my own stupid point, but this is it. All right. Climb to the top, this is it. Buddy. Jesus. It's definitely not the grippiest I've ever encountered. My rear tire is spinning pretty much the entire time, just trying to keep this bike under low enough revs that it's not just going to spin up and stop me. That's kind of why I block it down. These 302 strokes, they got the most amount of torque and the most amount of traction all the way down low. It's kind of counterintuitive, you know, to the motocross two strokes and the old style two strokes of the world. But it does work very well. Holy Hannah, does it ever. Oh my gosh, I see daylight. Not yet. Holy shit. This is somewhat reminiscent of the climb to Clifty, actually. Color of the dirt, the terrain, all the switchbacks. This looks a little gnarlier though. Albeit, we're gonna find out right now. Oh my God. I know you can't tell on GoPro, but that is pretty steep. All right. Come on, Tess. Come on, buddy. Fail me now. You bet. You bet. Get it, boy. Oh my God, I'm gonna make it. Oh no, there's more. Oh, you jackass, you spoke too soon. Holy shit. Oh my Lord. Oh my doodles. Oh wow. Look at this, everybody. This is a thing. This is one of the better ones I've seen yet. And all because I made a point to step out of my comfort zone and try something a little different. And look where it got me today. This is exactly the point I've been trying to make to you all day. If I could leave you with one piece of advice, it would be to turn your fear into curiosity. Instead of what if, ask, I wonder. You might be surprised what happens. Other than that, this is where I leave you guys. As always, take care of yourselves out there, and damn it, take care of each other. Cheers.